Reselling is not a real job. It's not a real way to make money, and it's not something that you should rely on part-time or full-time. Yeah, welcome in, Rockstars. Back to the channel, January 16th, 2024. And this is going to be a little bit of a rant video. I'll try to keep it as short as possible, but bear with me. I log into social media a lot. Clearly, it's part of my business. And when I go into YouTube and TikTok and Instagram and Reddit forums and all this sort of stuff, I see an awful lot of people belittling and trashing resellers because what we do is not a real business, not a real career, a job. And it's super frustrating because those of you that know me know my backstory. Those of you that are new here, I will be 39 years old in June. I have been a full-time reseller since I was just about 20 to 21, about 18 years. I moved to Florida, the Tampa area, actually about 15 minutes north of where I live now, in 2004/5. So this is all I've ever known. When I moved here, I had an ultimatum living with my parents as a 20-year-old high school, college graduate to get a job or move out. And I didn't want to get a job. And it wasn't because I don't like to work or because I'm lazy. Clearly, that's not the case. That's all I've ever done. There was opportunity. I was on Craigslist and I knew how to buy stuff and I knew how to resell it and I knew how to make some money. And I thought that there was an opportunity then to make the same amount of money that I would have made going to work at a Walmart warehouse or a Publix warehouse, which is what the great options were at the time, to go work the overnight shifts at the warehouse or the night shifts at the warehouse for $10 or $12 an hour. You got to remember, this was 18 years ago. There was no $15, $20 an hour. It was $10, it was $12. So it was like $400 a week, right? And I felt there was more money to be made than that. And I was right. And thank God I was right. And thank God that it worked out. But what you have to remember is when I did this, there was no Instagram, TikTok. There was barely a Facebook. It came out like the year I moved here, I think, 2005. There was no Facebook Marketplace. There was no Depop, Grailed, Shopify, no List Perfectly to help me cross list. eBay was in its infancy, taking money order payments in envelopes. Amazon was a brand new thing. Third-party sellers was not really a thing on Amazon. I'm sure it existed, but nobody did it, right? So none of this stuff existed, and I saw an opportunity at that time without all these accessories and all these things. I was using a Sidekick phone, a QWERTY keyboard Sidekick, not this smartphone where I could look stuff up and an internet swipe. That didn't exist either, right? So now we have all these tools, and yet through all this technology and all this transition, there are still people who say what we do is not a real job or real career. And I say to those people, it pays for a real mortgage. It pays for real cars. It pays for real life, real bills, real golf carts. It pays for real inventory and real business stuff that provides me a way to pay for my life as it has for the last 18 years. Without waking up and clocking into a boss, without going into an office or driving through traffic. If that isn't proof that what we do isn't real, then what else do people need? And my biggest problem with this, the part that I'm going to rant to all of you guys and girls about, is I don't care if somebody goes on my YouTube or my Reddit or my anywhere and says what I do is a joke or not a real job. Look, my life speaks for itself, okay? Whatever you think of me, personally, that's fine. But the fact is that since I have been a grown adult, I had a job when I was a teenager. I actually worked at Chili's in a mall in a to-go window, and I delivered orders to all the other stores. I'd walk all their food down to them, and I'd get tips, and I made money. I was 16, I was 17, I was 18. I moved to Florida, like I said, when I was 20, almost 21. So between like 18 and a half and 20, I did some odd jobs and different stuff. I have not had a job since I was 20 years old. This is all I've known and all I've done. How is it possible that for more or almost more than half my life, I haven't had to go to work, to clock into a job, to get a W-2? If it wasn't possible, it wouldn't be possible. Like, that's just it. And I don't care if somebody rags on me. If you want to belittle me and you want to talk about me, that's fine. Like, do it. I hear the never-ending crap, never ending, right? But it really makes me mad when people go on social media and they go to people's Instagrams who resell, who buy stuff for, $1 and sell it for $20 because they want to make a few $100s to pay for their kids' education or a vacation or pay off a car early or save for retirement. They want to make $1,000 a month, $2,000 a month. They're not a full-time seller. And I see so many people who are either trolls or old timers, no offense to the old timers, but there's a lot of old timers who haven't adjusted with the technology and the times, and they don't understand the power of this little thing that's in our pocket. And they tell these people that they're wasting their time and that they're pathetic and that they're dumb because they're trying to be resellers and they're trying to do this and it just doesn't happen and it's not a legitimate way. Go get a real job, right? Like I see that so much. And to somebody like me, we just ignore them because obviously this is all I've ever done and it's all I'm ever gonna do. But these other folks may listen to them and they may quit and they may get discouraged and they may get upset. And it's because, I can go to those people and go, oh, really? Because all I ever do is resell and it seems like it's doing just a fine job for me. But these other people might not be able to say, well, my reselling enabled me to pay for my kids' college because they don't have something tangible to kind of back it up with, right? Like, oh, I paid for the college. And people are like, yeah, right, blah, blah, blah. It's tough, man. It's really tough to hear that. And I remember in my early days, even my own parents, which thank God my parents came around. Thanks, Mom and Dad. My mom watches my channel, by the way, if you want to say hi to her. She reads the comments. Hi, Mom. They were skeptical. You got to remember, my parents are old school. My parents are almost 70 years old. And my dad is a Marine in an Army, 23 odd years. And my mom is as old school as they come. Her dad and mom are very old school. And they were very skeptical when I said, I'm not going to get a job, I'm going to buy stuff off the internet. Remember, 18 years ago now, 18 years ago. Today, it might be a little different. But 18 years ago, when you went to your parents and said, as a 20-year-old, I'm going to buy stuff on the internet and I'm going to sell it and I'm going to make more money than I could going to get a job, especially with two old school people, you're going to get laughed out of the room. And I did. And I'm not saying that my parents weren't supportive or didn't have high hopes for me, but they weren't the kind of people that were going to be like, okay, like you get a job, right? Like it just didn't work that way. So thankfully I was successful early. I was able to make money and every day I would show them how much I'd sold stuff for and how much I was making. And the money came in and I was, eventually buying a car and they're like, well, I guess he's making something. He bought a car. And I was, actually doing work with my dad. I helped my dad, who was a contractor and doing construction work and customizing and stuff, helped him get jobs and was able to help him do jobs and get commissions and then go do my own work on the side. And we met somebody who I partnered with and things just kind of snowballed and it worked. And they trusted me and thank God for that. I mean, thank you, Mom and Dad, for trusting me. Mostly my dad. But it's tough to convince people that what you do is real unless you can show real results. And even if you don't make a lot of money and you're just making a few $100 or $1,000 a month, that's real results. Like you're not a nobody because you only make a little bit of money because you're not doing this to afford a lifestyle or afford an entire career like, somebody me or Rally Roots or somebody else might do. We put our all into this stuff because we want to afford a whole lifestyle and a reselling career. Some people might not want to do that and that's okay, but it doesn't make you any less of a seller. I hear this where people talk about, and put your feelings aside, guys, because this is a little touchy subject. People talk about OnlyFans girls, about they're not a real job or a real career. I'll tell you what, there's a girl that lives down the street. I don't know her. I don't know anything about her. Simply what I've seen, she drives a $180,000 car. I kid you not, this car is super expensive. Custom wheels, custom paint job, custom everything. She's put a lot of money into this. She parks at a local grocery store. I see the car every once in a while, so I know she lives in this general area. She advertises her OnlyFans right on her car. No joke, no things aside. Now, not my thing, don't care about it, and I don't care if somebody does it for a living. That's your choice, morally, if you want to jump on the internet and do that sort of stuff, pictures, videos, great. But I can tell you right now that she also, again, not my thing, but I know that she lives in a neighborhood simply because I've seen her turn into it where you have to have a gate code and gate, and I'm certain that's where she lives. That's very, very expensive. More expensive than my neighborhood even. I'm talking $800, $900, $1 million. And she drives that vehicle. And she does not have a job, according to somebody that I know that is an acquaintance of an acquaintance that happens to know about her or knows somebody that knows her. She lives there, she drives that car, she pays for it all herself, and it's all through OnlyFans. And you can say what you want, right? If it's not illegal and it's not scheming and scamming and ripping somebody off, if that's what you choose to do, look, there are people, ladies, young ladies, that would go down to a local gentleman's establishment and do the exact same thing right in front of people, right out in front of them. She gets to do it from the comfort of her own couch or bedroom, I guess, or wherever, and put it on the internet. And she's making enough money. She makes more money than me, I guarantee it. I would venture to say this young lady's making $500,000, 600, 700, who knows? $1 million a year, maybe not, but $500,000 for sure. Because to afford that house she's living in that neighborhood, and that vehicle, I know what that takes. I know what kind of credit you have to have, and I know what kind of debt to income and proof of income you have to have. I know what it takes to afford certain levels of cars and how much those payments are, cash or financed or leased or otherwise. It's expensive. We're talking $2,000, $2,500 car payments, or she paid a whole bunch up front, which means she had the cash to do it. You can think what you want of her morally. If you don't like it, that's fine, but you can't tell her she doesn't have a real career or a real job, because you know what? She's got a better career and a better job than most of these people out here begging on the street who can't pay their rent, can't pay their car payment, getting repossessed, getting foreclosed on, and going to the internet asking how they can pay their bills and make money. Just gonna put that out there. So the next time you're on the internet, if you're watching this and you're a reseller, you know what I'm talking about. If you're watching this and you're a troll, or you're somebody who thinks that what we do isn't real, isn't a real career, a real job, stop for 1 second and ask yourself, if it's not real, how do they pay for all the stuff they do? How is there so many people in the communities, in the Facebook groups, in the YouTube videos, in the social media, who are doing what we do every single day, if it's not a real industry and not a real business? It's 2024, guys and girls. It doesn't matter what you do or how you do it, as long as it's legal, and as long as it pays the bills, and as long as it brings money in, and as long as you love it. Don't let anybody else tell you that it's not real. Don't let anybody else talk you out of doing it. Don't let anybody else discourage you from getting up every day and doing what you love, whether it's reselling, flipping some remotes, whether it's wholesaling, whether it's making YouTube videos like this to talk to people just behind the camera because you love it, or TikToks, or taking your clothes off on OnlyFans. It's a career, right? Anyways, rant over. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hopefully it means something to all of you. Hopefully it encourages a lot of you that don't like to get up every day and hear that stuff. Ignore those people. They're just noise. And most of them are failures anyways. Most of them are miserable. I promise you. I've met a few of them. I know a few of them. I've seen a few of them. I've blocked quite a few of them. All right. Have a wonderful Tuesday evening, everybody. Thank you for joining me. Thanks for watching. Also, taxes. I would be in trouble if I didn't mention this. Monday and Tuesday, the 22nd and 23rd of January, Mark II, Not Your Dad's CPA, is having a free tax event for resellers. Absolutely 100% free. It will be linked down below. Go get your seat. Reserve it now before seats run out, so you can learn everything you need to know about how to file your taxes this year and how to track them for next year. If you need help, he will be there to help you. He's a licensed CPA, a reseller, and an expert in e-commerce and online sales, taxes, and bookkeeping. Please use that link below for Mark II's tax reseller event. It is January 22nd and January 23rd, absolutely virtually free. Go get your seat now, and they will email you links to join that show. Thank you so much, guys. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and I will see everyone next time.